Previously, in X-Men, Storm has been captured by a trio of vigilantes, former war heroes who mistook her for a common criminal. They intend to execute her by hunting her across the Adirondacks of upstate New York. All the while, Wolverine has gone wild after catching the scent of a woman he loved that he believes to be dead. I am Jason Lapidus.
I'm Chris Sanagan.
And we are Group of Seven Comics. And welcome to episode 146 of our ongoing live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that became classic, as we read Uncanny X-Men 216 by Chris Claremont, Jackson Guice, and Dan Green. Cover date of April 1987. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. You know, you said Scent of a Woman, and I immediately thought of the Al Pacino, Chris O'Donnell movie. Scent of a Woman. I believe, was Pacino nominated for that one? Did he win?
Yes. Did he win? I don't remember because it no longer matters.
This is the pre-Robin Chris O'Donnell era.
Yeah. Just before. He didn't work out at that point. I don't think he was still Circle of Friends Chris O'Donnell. He was
still Three Musketeers Chris O'Donnell. How many other Chris O'Donnell movies can we name from that period?
Young and unjaded Chris O'Donnell, who's soon to be jaded by the toy commercial of a film known as Batman and Robin, which through a lens someone out there enjoys, I'm sure. It was a devastating moment for me watching that movie in theaters, as I went in wanting essentially the Dark Knight trilogy and got a
What'd you get?
I got a modern adaptation of the 60s TV show, which is not what I wanted.
Right.
But this is not previously in Batman movies, which I would happy to do that. I'm happy to do that show any day of the week.
Or previously in Chris O'Donnell's career. That's also not the show.
Yeah, all that stuff. Hey, everyone in the chat, thanks for being here. The last issue, I have to tell you, episode 145, issue 215 of Uncanny X-Men, we did not get a big response on YouTube for it, but it doesn't matter. We don't do these episodes for anyone ourselves. No, we obviously want to share. We want to get the original scans of the printed pages out to anyone, and we really do enjoy reading through them and doing those silly performances that don't require rehearsal, shouldn't have rehearsal, don't deserve rehearsal. But it's funny how certain episodes really get a big response out of people, and certain episodes we get very low numbers. And that cover of Storm fighting those three dudes, all new characters, none of them with history that mean a lot to the animated series X-Men generation, the video game X-Men generation. It was like an easy pass for a lot of viewers. So I really am happy to see a busy chat this morning. I thought the issue last week and our episode was a good one. What about you, Chris?
So, I mean, again, I think it probably is reflective of how I approached the issue, which I was like, what's going on here? Villain of the week. I was disinterested from the cover. Some clowns fighting Storm. And then I actually read the issue. I'm like, oh, this is a good issue. So I think you have to get into it a little bit. I don't think the cover and the premise and the setup, I don't think it helps. Although I think the payoff is good.
Agreed. And Alan Davis art.
Right. Alan Davis art is quite nice.
Yeah, I could read Alan Davis comics anytime, and Alan Davis drawing Storm is like fantastic. Let's say hello in the chat to Chuck and Michael. And Chuck and Michael. Chuck is saying, love the poster frame for this episode. Hey, man, thanks. Obviously, I only had this big a role in it, in that we have a Barry Windsor-Smith cover that I have I have dissected it. I've removed, the logo and whatever, and made it so it works on a title card a little better, and added some extra ground for fun. But it's the one of the guiding ethos of the show is that we don't devote too much time to producing it. It's, that's one of the reasons it's a live stream. And of course, the live stream aspect has taken on a life of its own that you and I, Chris, have both talked about how we enjoy it much more than pre-taping something. We enjoy seeing you guys in the chat and hearing what you have to contribute. And so if we are doing practicing character voices, and if I'm spending too much time on the digital production of, putting these graphics together, I find it a fun challenge every week because I never know what what tools the cover has left me that I can use to design something really fast with, I try and get it done first thing in the morning on a Tuesday. Once in a while I'll take a stab at it earlier in the week, but so this one I went and cropped out the background while listening to the news about a certain president pardoning a certain son. And so that's now whenever I see this, that's all I can think about as I was going through the select tool and deleting those features. But it's fun to think about how to make a good title card. And obviously I'm not a graphic designer by any kind of trade or training. And it's fun to experiment and try things to see what works and what doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So I think this is the first one ever where I got any kind of response from a person. So I appreciate that a great deal, actually, Chuck. If ever you don't like them or you guys do like them, let me know. Let me know what you like about it, what you want to see more of. If you prefer that I do it, make it like a comic book page where I make panels and insert panels from the issue into the title card. I'm trying to think what shows up well on someone's phone. So that's I started to enlarge the covers and try and pull out one or two aspects of them and make them bigger. Try different things over the years based on inspiration and some randomness. So I'm glad I got a bit of feedback, and it's very helpful. Chuck says also, nice non-spoiler recap. Thank you. Again, no feedback about that stuff either. So this is a nice day for me. Thank you. Al Pacino did win Best Actor. Very cool. I also see that Jason Jose is here and Anthony is here. Hey man, how you doing? I still have a comic for you, Anthony, that I need to give you next time I pop into Planet X. It's been sitting on my things to hand out for quite a while. I have an issue of X-Force. I have the Mike Mignola issue of X-Force, which is X-Force 8. I have a copy for Anthony. I was at a...
Give me that copy.
Yeah, I didn't give you his copy.
No, you gave me a copy of it.
I went to an event, a county fair, and there was some long boxes to go through, and in the 10 comics for $5 bin, I pulled out maybe 5 of those because I want to have one that I can take apart for a reason I'll discuss another time. I wanted another copy for me, and then I was like, who do I know that doesn't have this? And because it's something I can easily pass on, Anthony came to mind. We've talked about that before. Chris, the copy I gave you was when we were in Deep River, Ontario.
Deep River. It is one of the best comics in the sense that it's so you so don't know what you're getting into because you think you're getting into something and then it turns out to be something else completely, where it's a Liefeld cover and a Liefeld splash and then 20 pages of Mignola and then a Liefeld cover splash to end it. It is wonderful.
Yeah, it's whiplash. It's artistic whiplash.
It's wonderful. It's such an artifact. That's what it is. It's an artifact.
It is. And Mignola tells a really great story from my point of view, not necessarily from his, because it was his exit from Marvel was his breaking point where.
Well, I'm not surprised. He had to draw Grizzly and some other characters who.
No. So we're talking about X-Force issue 8. I should bring that information. I didn't expect to be talking about this, but it's such a good story when Mignola tells it, and when you look at the context of it all. Essentially, Liefeld has already left at this point and started Image and is working on Youngblood and all that kind of stuff. And the editors at Marvel are still kowtowing to Liefeld's juice in the market. They know that having him producing comics is going to help sell things significantly, like grossly. So Mignola is still a guy working month to month, paycheck to paycheck, and doesn't have the career trajectory that we all know him to eventually find. And so he wants that cover, and he's been promised by the editor that he's doing the cover. And so he's planning out he's like, but I only have this much time. When am I going to do this cover? What you got to give me the information. And so he draws the issue, and then he finds out that the cover's already been handed in by Rob, and the editor's going with Rob's cover. And he just says, like, guys, don't, his hindsight story. He says it acted like they didn't even realize he had already left them. Like, this is your ex-girlfriend, and you're still doing things for her. You're still giving her a paycheck. You're still,
still driving her around.
You're still driving her around, all that kind of stuff. And he's like, that was it. He was so mad he couldn't work with him anymore. And I get it. In theory, obviously, I haven't been through that situation, but it's still a really neat one. So my dream, when I'm done everything else I want to do, is to Mignolize those pages that Liefeld did and bootleg it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So I want to take apart a copy that I have, because I have an extra now still, and I want to scan them, and then I want to take the color palette and do that and set that up in Photoshop, and find that exact newsprint texture from those pages, and then import them into the blank pages, and then lay those 4 pages that Liefeld did on the cover as if it was Mignola, using Mignola's ample work at that time. There's enough that I can, even with some help, who knows, reverse engineer 4 pages of Mignola comics, and then print it as if it was a bootleg Mignola. You know what I mean? Like, here is like a remaster, but just as a creative exercise, just for shits and giggles.
Sure. Listen. As long as Grizzly is front and center.
No, I would redraw the cover as, like. By the way, I hope that it's just you who stopped and not me. But let me know in the chat if you guys think Chris is frozen, or if I'm frozen. Let me know. Anyway, the cover composition, the idea of it, the premise of all the characters running forward, is not an alien one for Mignola. He does that beautifully well, but Liefeld does it on an angle where they're kind of coming up. And okay, Chuck says it's just Chris, so we'll get Chris back in here when it needs to. I can ramble, but I think I've seen enough Mignola art from that time period where he likes to do things almost dead on. And Chris says he sent me a text. He says his internet has been wonky lately, so we'll figure out what to do with him. He's frozen. Yeah, it's all good. We really don't need him. Oh, he's actually left. It's all good, Chris, man. Don't worry. So I don't think it would be that difficult to reverse engineer a composition for that kind of cover. But of course, the execution is always the hardest part. I know ish what kinds of tools Mignola's using, and like how to mimic his line a little bit. And obviously it would look like my work and not his. But just the idea of putting together that story a little more like Mignola, in the spirit of, as opposed to the jarring different versions of Liefeld's first couple pages and Liefeld's ending. So we'll see what happens. So Chris has sent me some messages. He says, my internet has been wonky lately. I'm frozen, but it'll come back. Sorry, bud. I'm just going to tell him it's okay, because you guys are all very nice. It's okay. No rush. There you go. There is a rush, of course, but I don't want him to feel pressure. So, hey, Mass, how you doing? I'm glad you're here too. And it's nice that you could join us. What else have I got? Chris wants more Grizzly talk. But I think that kind of composition, have you ever seen, I would love to be able to share my screen at times. And I've been having for a long time a big glitch with my Mac and sharing the internet. Oh, he's back. Where I've wanted to, hi Chris, I'm going to ignore you though. I've wanted to be able to share my screen because then we can talk about things as we're going. But there is a really cool Mignola, I guess it's a pinup or maybe it was going to be a cover of a future project where it is some X-Men like Cyclops and Cable and members of the Fantastic Four. I think that was the next project he was working on, around that 92, 93 moment. And it's exactly the kind of cover that you would get probably for that issue in terms of its composition. We also saw those Mignola X-Men Classic covers, where he really loves those like straight on compositions, and
Beautiful.
we know his mindset in the time period of how he wanted to lay things out. So I think it would be a fun one to playfully reverse engineer, and just a fun practice. I have three of those kinds of things I want to do, and I don't have time for any of them, but anyone can dream. So that would be very cool.
Here's hoping that's the only technical difficulty we encounter. We've been having issues with our internet lately, and although we've been investigating it, I just hope it doesn't impact our show. But, all to say, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think any live stream is subject to those kinds of fluxes, and
yeah, but specifically, we've been having challenges with our internet on our end. I don't know. I mean, for those of you who aren't in Canada and on the internet and are beholden to 2 or 3 internet providers, we switched from one to the other and are still experiencing cruddy service.
That's all we can do in this country.
That's all we can do.
Is switch from red to blue, red to blue, and then blue to red, and depending on who you're more mad at that year.
Seriously,
yeah, we've been on the red one for a long time, and we often threaten with going blue.
Well, we just got onto red.
Yeah,
we left blue.
Yeah.
Whatever, man.
Canada is so funny about that kind of stuff. Mass says, not to be snarky, but doing that exercise, as in redrawing that cover and those 4 pages, would definitely be an improvement. I've been trying to find ways to articulate my feelings about these kinds of topics. And I don't remember where I heard it recently, but someone was saying that, obviously art is subjective, but craft is not. And if somebody enjoys, obviously, any comic book creator's work, more power to them. I'm not going to yuck on anyone's yum. I do think those pages, in terms of craft, like there might be a little rushed. He was known as a penciler to do things quite quickly and skip to the fun parts and move on to the next thing. And we can look at the calendar, the history, and see where his heart is and where his inspiration is. And he's probably definitely thinking about something else. But again, working fast is not a sign of not fun, not enjoyment, like not being able to enjoy it. Kirby worked fast, and I love a ton of his stuff. So I'm not too concerned about it. It's just not my taste. Sometimes it's just not to my taste. But I wouldn't yuck on someone else's yum about an artist like Liefeld or Liefeld specifically. Yeah. That being said, the penciler today, Jackson Guice, also known as Butch Guice. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Again, if it's pronounced as a kid, I wasn't sure if it was Juice or Goose,
Guice,
or Guice. Did you say?
Yeah.
I really didn't know as a kid. I'm still not sure now. I've heard Guice recently, and that's just what I've gone with. So I saw his name in credits way more as Butch Guice. Moving on, but at this point, he's Jackson. This is his. It rhymes with nice, so we'll say Guice is fine. And this is my first time, I think, as a kid coming across his work, and I'm interested to see if we're going to get more of him in X-Men. Was he doing X Factor at times? Okay, I'll move on. We'll just get into this thing. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Chris, did you watch the Skeleton Crew already?
Not yet. It's on my to-do list. Have you watched it yet?
I did. I watched the first 2 episodes today.
All right.
And it gave me lots of vibes of
Goonies.
Yeah, there's some definitely Goonies. Obviously, Treasure Island.
Yeah.
Lots of Treasure Island in it. And the Explorers, if you ever saw that.
Oh yeah, Explorers for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
there's Flight of the Navigator. How about that?
Flight of the Navigator.
Okay.
That stuff is all in there, obviously, with the space flying around stuff. But definitely, I mean, thematically, there's so much Treasure Island going on there.
Also, strangely enough, none of those movies star Chris O'Donnell.
It's true. It's true. I did enjoy the kids weren't. I will say, for me, they weren't annoying.
And, that's a thing you and I talked about a lot, actually.
Everyone's mileage varies. I kind of believed a little bit. The kids are kids, and I think the show is definitely not targeting dad. It's targeting kid, and then my kids are too big for that particular show. But I watched it I tried to have a big open heart, and there you go. Some
Cool.
Star Wars.
Cool.
We'll see how it plays. I also just saw for the first time My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Woo! What a cute movie,
isn't it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so good. If any of you out there haven't watched Miyazaki's My Neighbor Totoro, go. It's that goes down easy. That goes down real easy. It was a lot of fun. Chuck says, so weird how Star Wars ever became a thing while having exactly 0% Chris O'Donnell in it. Yeah, there's got to be some more Chris O'Donnell in Star Wars. We got to work on that. Anthony reminds me
there's
that
still time, Chuck. There's always time.
That Butch Guice had a good run on New Mutants. I'll take your word for it. And David hey David, how are you, man? But Jason pronounces it noise. Good time for some coffee. All right.
Okay.
Let's get the show on the road. Look at this. Right?
Gorgeous.
Barry Windsor-Smith. Stab that guy.
Right? I mean, I
stab that guy. Yeah.
Woo!
Weird coloring. You can see even on mine and on yours. There's some odd color choices. His mask under his eyes should not be that, as people call it, the tan.
Yeah, tan.
It should not be. It should be the dark brown under his eyes. That's fine. My copy, I actually have some plate errors where the side of Wolverine's arm is tan.
Okay.
So it blends right from his pants up across his arm. It's a bit of a mess. But I do not like this picture.
Yeah, it's I mean, when you open with a there's something about it. It's the proportions. I don't know what it is, but it's throwing me off a bit.
Yeah, there is some weirdness about it. Having kind of symmetry in one part, asymmetry in the other, I find is a little strange. The the straight on view of him, the car is coming, and that's fine. But the boots with the flaps down like that, his costume is particularly hard to render from certain angles. You get on a certain view of his mask and it gets really weird, or a certain view of his boots and it gets weird because they don't really work in 3D until you have an action figure in front of you in 3D, and then you can kind of play with it. And even from that, I wouldn't draw him from every angle. If I had the opportunity to draw Wolverine in a comic book, I would avoid certain angles because he doesn't look as cool from certain angles. So his boots from that angle look terrible, even if that was accurate, which it is not. But yeah. And Chuck notes that he's got the Frank Miller style claws. These are I would call them the knife claws as opposed to the pin claws. And these ones allow for the Todd McFarlane reflection and the closer to what we see eventually in the movies, right?
Yeah.
Where there is a side to them that if you hit or touched, it wouldn't be sharp. It's just the bottoms that are sharp.
Right.
Yeah. Dan Alvin, how are you? He says, I just reread this entire long stretch of Uncanny from 175 to 312 or so recently, straight through for the first time since they originally debuted, although I quit somewhere in the 220s the first time. Whoa, that is a hefty read. I wonder, man, you start at 175. There's so much good stuff that happens before that. And, maybe you've already read that stuff and you didn't need to go back. So, hey, Allie, how you doing? Happy Tuesday to you. So I missed the recap, so I'm not sure what just happened right before this opening. Should I just go grab my copy? What's happened just before this is Storm has been kidnapped by some vigilantes who used to be heroes in World War II, and now they are capturing criminals and making them go on a hunt in the wild so that they're going to hunt and then kill criminals who they've captured. They're being dicks about it. And they think Storm is a criminal because they found her at the site of the burned down Grey residence, like Jean Grey's sister's house. Her house has been burned down. They found Storm unconscious there. And while they were there, Wolverine caught scent of Jean Grey. Let's talk about that for a minute, if you don't mind.
Sure.
We know that Chris Claremont is not writing X Factor. But how long are they going to tease out this idea that the X-Men don't know that X Factor is the original X-Men? You know what I mean? They're in the news.
Yeah, I mean, Wolverine picked it up right away. And in fact, they even speak to an optic blast, right? Like, they know Cyclops is there. And, right. So why are they playing this shell game?
So it's, maybe it's something editorial. And they're saying, no, we want to have a reunion at a certain point. We want to have a dramatic
team up,
meeting.
maybe a reveal.
Yeah, a reveal of a certain proportion because it carries a lot of weight, but it just doesn't hold up as a plot device because, when she dies in X-Men, 137, the teammates she leaves behind, the teammates that sacrificed their life for her, she doesn't go tell them that she's alive again. Right? I mean, Beast and Angel are there, but to not tell Aurora, her roommate and best friend, that she's alive, and all these other people, like, to not do that, it's so insane that there's no sense of loyalty between her and the rest of Xavier's school for gifted youngsters. So I don't believe it. I know they're just dragging it out until I guess the crossover event comes where they can have these two teams meet each other and then, like, you're not real, no, you're not real, or whatever nonsense it's going to be.
They can point at each other in a triangle.
But I find it exhausting and sort of stupid. But I recognize that those kinds of things are not always.
There's been a couple of times now too where they've used the device, and certainly more prominently last issue, where Wolverine catches a scent and kind of goes mad. Right. And he backhands Storm. Backhands, I'm like, I'll give you one time, but the second or third time, like, come on. Anyway. Right.
Okay, so here we go. Sorry for that diatribe, but
no, it's a good one.
Stan Lee presents Crucible, starring the Uncanny X-Men. Lonely Road, Lost Soul. Following a gossamer trail of scent so faint, he's no longer even sure it's real. But then he isn't sure anymore that anything is real. Wolverine is a creature almost totally dependent on his ultra-keen senses. They define his world, shape the way he deals with it. They are the sum and substance of his fundamental being. So what happens then when those senses begin to lie? Well, they're not lying, dude. Why don't you trust your senses, Wolverine? They're just in conflict with what's on social media, that's all.
Yes.
So, Chris Claremont writer, Jackson Guice and Dan Green are the artists. Glynis Oliver, Tom Orzechowski on colors and letters, respectively, and Ascenti, editor, and Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief for the time being.
That's going to be interesting when that changes. I think it's coming soon, right?
Yeah. What will happen, of course, is the whole X-Men editorial will shift eventually.
Right.
Right? Because people who are loyal to the old editor, who didn't make good with the new editor-in-chief, they often lose their jobs. So we shall see what happens. And maybe that plays an impact on the quality of X-Men or the direction, and maybe it doesn't. It totally does.
It does.
But maybe we won't notice. Or maybe we will.
Maybe we will.
He sees the onrushing truck without realizing what it is. Or that it's a threat. Until it's too late.
What the heck? Mercy!
Okay, can I actually make a request?
Sure.
Actually, it's okay. I'll be Marcy. It's fine. So what the heck, Marcy? Yes. I don't know. Oh, my Lord, Phil. Something in the road. Right in front of us. Sprang out of nowhere. I think it was a man. Oh, Phil, I hit him.
No sign of anybody. Road's clean as can be.
Phil, did I imagine it?
Look at the truck. You sure clobbered something, hun.
Those are slash marks. Like the grill was cut. Even the bumper's bent. How can anyone be hit so hard and run away?
Beats me.
We have to find him, Phil. Get him to a hospital.
It's dark, Marcy. We're going nowhere until we fix the truck. Holy cow!
Oh,
Whoa!
was that what we hit?
Oh, I sure hope not, because whoever made that sound isn't human.
Strictly speaking, that's true. No, it's not. I nitpicking. Mutants and humans are not a different species because they can reproduce fertile young. And if one animal can reproduce fertile young with another animal, they are the same species. Like coyotes and wolves. They're different breeds, yes. Different species, no. Humans and mutants are not a different species. Mutants are just humans with a mutation. But anyway,
you digress.
I digress. Sorry. Oh, man. Strictly speaking, that's true. Not. Wolverine is a mutant. Mainstay of a mutant super team, the X-Men. Born with special, unique, redundant abilities ordinary people don't have. His body heals wounds, disease, poisons with incredible speed, making him almost impossible to kill. Moreover, his skeleton is bonded with adamantium, the strongest metal known, making it virtually unbreakable. The truck hurt him, but he survived. He'll get better. Physical injuries are the least of his problems. I do like that pose from Wolverine quite a bit, and did as a kid. That version of running is
yes.
It always stayed with me. I used to like to pose my action figures like that.
Sure.
That lunging forward, I thought was cool. What drives him, careening madly, wildly, mindlessly through the forest, is a different kind of pain. With each step, every desperate breath, the man recedes farther and farther into the shadows of his soul, and the beast gains ascendancy. It is aware only of a terrible gnawing fear it does not understand, in which the rational side of him refuses to face the loss of his humanity. So he runs, lashing out with blind, manic ferocity, using his adamantium claws that will cut through anything except his demons within. And finally, exhausted in body and spirit, he howls. Oh!
Spent.
I love the idea that if any of his adversaries want to make him insane, all they have to do is like spray a scent.
Right.
And he will not figure out how to manage that.
Right. Is that someone in heat? Like he's just
Yeah. He won't be able to manage at all. Dan says, I like these panels, as do I, Dan. The layout is dynamic, says Ali. It's really fluid. Chuck says, I'm getting a Bob Layton vibe from his figure work. Yeah, I think they're from a similar moment in time. Both, sort of stalwarts of the house style in the mid-'80s. And you get lots of random comics drawn by either of these guys in that moment in time. Elsewhere. Now, here's another piece of evidence for Storm in white. When you render her like that, she's going to read as white in her clothing.
Sure.
But then you look at the other two panels where she is rendered, and it's like, oh no, it's black with shadow.
Wearing black, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting how there are artists that will draw her that way, and her costume does read as very much white. Elsewhere, a cry, far away by the sound of it. Desperate and despairing, poor thing. I wish Wolverine was here. Blast that man. What happened to him the other night? Without warning, he went berserk, knocked me unconscious, fled into the night. But why? Did some outside force or power affect him? Was he attacked? And if so, why him and not me? Was I not worth the effort because I no longer possess any mutant power? Does that matter? I am what I am, and I must make the best of it. Our pursuers will be after us again at first light. 3 retired World War II heroes determined to make the world a better place by ridding it of its criminal element. Alone, I would evade them with ease. But that would mean abandoning Priscilla. The hunters said she was a drug dealer whose wealth and influence placed her beyond the law. Her boyfriend ran this course to his death. Now it's our turn. You should be asleep. We must move hard and fast tomorrow. You need the rest.
I tried. Ground's too hard and wet and cold.
A fire would reveal where we are.
What was that noise?
Nothing that need concern us.
I hate it here. I wish I was home.
Trust me, child, and I will get you there. And like that drawing of her, at the time I was like, oh, that's really good. Now it screams of reference to me. It screams of I used a model for that moment or some kind of reference photo. There's something about those eyes and the proportions that don't feel like other drawings he does. It sort of stands out. But I think that's also a good thing that sometimes a certain drawing gets a degree of attention and shines. I remember we used to see that with Cockrum a lot. There'd be like one picture that was, oh, that's just a great face. While others, Kitty Pryde's hair would be almost like her wig was on the wrong the wrong part of her scalp. But this face really stands out as being, to me, something done from a model.
Yeah, for sure.
But what then? Will she return to her old life? Innocence will suffer. She will return to her old life. Innocence will suffer, perhaps die, and the fault will partly be mine. It is not my place to sit in judgment. Yet, have I the right not to?
What you doing?
Laying a trap. Logically, the speedster called Super Saber will be the first to come along. This fishing line I found should deal with him.
Out of sight. You'll take his head clean off. My kind of style, Storm. I like it.
I do this because it is necessary, Priscilla. I take no pleasure in it.
No problem, sister. You got a case of the squeams. I'll whack the geezer.
I love that slang. Case of the squeams.
Case of squeams. Pay him back square for what they did to Tommy.
Death has no meaning for you, does it?
You got a nerve, acting so superior. Considering you're the one rigging this booby trap.
True enough. Wolverine would have no qualms. Am I the better or worse for having mine?
Look, I don't want to scrap. Just get me clear of this mess. And you can name your price.
Blood moon. It's a blood moon. The mountains are still. The primeval wilderness of New York's Adirondack Forest Preserve, leached of all colors save shades of gray by the pre-dawn half-light, balanced supernally between asleep and awake, between realities magical with a K and mundane. Storm hasn't slept, and at this worst of all possible times, fatigue gnaws at the fringes of her consciousness. Claremont is deep into the purple prose. I love it. Mm-hmm. Crystal cobalt eyes narrow, breath catches momentarily in her throat. As distant trees suddenly stir, branches sway.
What do you see?
Hush! Wind, where there was none, billowing upward from the road. Super Saber.
Great. This'll be fun.
Merciful goddess, what am I doing? Acting like Wolverine. But I am not Wolverine.
Hey, he's almost here.
Let him pass.
The heck I will. We're just doing to him what he would do to us without a second thought.
Be still. Be silent. Let him pass.
Hey, whose side are you on anyway? We had that creep cold. We could have nailed him.
My decision, my responsibility.
What do you think she means here when in this
Why aren't you going
retort?
to read it first?
In this retort, she says, "Real white of you, blood." What's going on there? Do we have an idea?
Racism?
Racism is going on there. Okay.
So the way I'm reading it now, I can't tell you how I read it when I was 12.
Yeah,
because
sure.
I don't remember. Maybe she's saying white. I'm going to load this with an interpretation.
Okay.
And don't roast me for this. It's just an interpretation. Maybe she's saying that that's a very, and this is awful, like a very civilized way to look at it. Like a white person would. And then calling her blood, meaning like the gang? Because, dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
So Chuck says, that's mighty white of you was a thing people said when I was a kid.
Okay.
Chuck, I don't... Is that a positive or a negative? As in white man's burden. I don't really know what to make of it, and that's okay. Yeah, I can't really extrapolate too much meaning out of it, but like as if Storm was trying to be a better person in some way. So I don't know. It was meant as positive, but it's completely racist, Chuck says. Yeah, okay. That's kind of what the vibe I'm getting from this.
Yeah, because I mean, even as it, spoiler alert, she turns out to be a real dirtbag. So maybe it goes to that character. I don't know.
Who this lady? What's her name again? Priscilla.
Priscilla was the Tommy. Yeah, Priscilla and Tommy.
Yeah, it's pretty clear she's a dirtbag already, and meaning that
she's like a total.
She has a very low ethical bar.
Yes.
She's willing to hurt people for her own benefit and take pleasure in it. David Cutler says, I'm going to bring that phrase back for people who are yelling at assistant managers. Yeah, I'm not cool. That's not cool. But yeah, I hear you. Just want to note on the left-hand side that zoom panel where Super Saber is going. One of the things that makes him look like he's moving fast is the fact that his body's off balance, that he is not upright.
Okay.
So it's subconsciously, we read that as a being in motion because there's no way he could possibly be at rest and maintain that balance.
Right.
So even if he's not moving at super speed, he would then fall over. So our brain animates that enough because it is just in movement. I bring that up for reasons that are going to become apparent in a couple minutes or moments. Let's continue reading here.
Okay. It's my life. This isn't any game, There are no rules. All that matters is survival.
Count yourself fortunate, girl. That is not so. Do not fear, we shall survive. But so long as we are together on my terms.
For what they're worth. Where to next, then? A bus stop, I hope.
We cross that ridge across the valley by mid-morning.
You're crazy. I can't make that hike. No way.
Would you rather stay behind? Part of me wants her to say yes, but I will not listen if she does. The X-Men have always stood more for ideals than reality. Starting with our founder's dream of a mutant world where mutant and human could live together in peace and harmony. As leader, I am supposed to exemplify those beliefs. It is not that saving the girl is the right thing to do, though it may well be. It is that, for better or worse, abandoning her is totally wrong. Oh, Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Crunch.
Ooh, I haven't had Captain Crunch in a long time. It's been a while.
I can still taste Captain Crunch, even though I haven't had it in 20 years.
Yeah.
Not a good thing. 3 days ago, This is interesting. Just the very fact that it's like an old happened. Okay, sorry. 3 days ago, an ocean to the east, off the rugged north coast of Scotland, the dawn of Muir Island and Moira McTaggart's Mutant Research Center is rudely, violently shattered by the supersonic arrival of the X-Men's Blackbird. Aboard, the last evacuees from the team's New York headquarters, being removed here to better protect them from the Marauders, a band of ruthless killers who'd inflicted horrendous casualties in a recent attack on both X-Men and Morlocks, a street gang of mutants who lived in tunnels beneath Manhattan.
Scan the island with your telepathic powers, Psylocke. Locate and identify every person on that rock.
Already in the works, Rogue. Two in the house, two more jogging along the beach, the rest in the underground lab complex, all friendly. Oh no! I scanned memories of a death last night, and another of the wounded will not last the day. Even now, after all our efforts, the Marauder's butcher's bill is not complete. No sign of any intruders or hostile activity anywhere near the isle, unless you count Dr. McTaggart. She's headed for our landing stage in a right royal temper.
Have you gone bloody daft? We're a hospital here, jammed to the gills with wounded and dying, and your idiot flying stunts aren't helping their recovery or my peace of mind one little bit. Everybody out on the dome. Execute Strat Maneuver Bravo. Rogue? Relax, Moira. It's a hard when the body's had the wits frightened out of her. I didn't want to take any chances. The idea was to assume the Marauders were waiting for us. And a good thing they aren't. We'd have stolen over him. Whoops! Often their own necessary. They told us to stay here, they'd send word. The trouble is, we need them as badly with us. There's too much to do, Moira, and no time to do it. They're the ones we depend on most, our teachers, our leaders. We're crippled. Without us to back them up in case they get ambushed by the Marauders of their history. I feel like that panel is taken from another X-Men comic. I feel like that's an Alan Davis. Which one? Where she was like waiting outside and when Sabretooth attacked. Oh, yeah. She was doing some kicking. But I haven't gone to look to see if there's any similarities. It just reminds me of it. Everyone loves your Moira McTaggart, by the way. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. Upstate New York, 3 hours after sunrise, where the other two hunters, Lewis Hamilton, Stonewall, and Frank Bohannon, the Crimson Commando, have found signs of their quarry. We've seriously underestimated Storm. She pushed herself and the girl farther, faster than anyone else we've hunted, and chose a brilliant course, too, through the heart of the deep woods where Super Saber can't follow. He has to stay on the roads where she set this trap, as effective as I've ever come up with. Woman knows her business. Thing is, signs all indicate Martin passed this way before daybreak. Storm and the girl were waiting up here, perfectly positioned. Why didn't she spring the trap? Perhaps, Frank, she had second thoughts, as we ought to. There, it's set just right to slice through her neck. Storm committed no crime, Commando. She isn't like the others we've dealt with. She's involved because of our mistake. Why can't we let her go? And spend the rest of our lives in jail? Oh, that accomplish. We do good work, Stoney. We rid society of the crooks, the killers, the rapists, the drug-dealing scum who've placed themselves beyond the reach of the law. We're using a method that strikes terror to those that are left, making it that much easier for the cops to do their job. We're doing what we swore to years ago when we put on these uniforms. We're protecting our country. You saying that's wrong? Besides, we've only Storm's word that she's innocent.
Isn't that supposed to be enough until we prove different? Remember, she didn't kill Martin when she had the chance.
Martin? Super Saber. Stonewall, he's coming.
Faster than the proverbial speeding bullet. His figure is a blurred flash of color streaking down the logging road. A flash that only the Crimson Commando can truly see.
The trap's still set. Stonewall, block him.
And Stonewall, who, as his name implies, cannot be knocked down, does precisely that. Whoop. Saber, in his ignorance, is not amused.
Of all the lame-brained idiot stunts.
Sorry about that, Martin.
Yeah, I just bet you are, you great dumping lummox.
I was saving your life.
Fishing line. Stretch across your path, head high. Your velocity, you'd have lost yours. Skirt did that? Storm. I figured she's aiming for that ridge. No sign of her on any local road. I checked them all. She's moving cross country. No problem. I may not be able to follow her there, trail, but I can sure beat her to where she's going. See there, slowpokes?
Massimo says, all bow to the accent master. I'm pretty sure he's talking about me.
That's right. That's right.
And then as we turn to the next page, panel 2, what the fuck, bro? You've got essentially the Flash or Quicksilver here, and you're going to draw their body standing upright like that. Again, I get that pose. You know, there probably are examples of people going jogging who, if you take the photo from the right angle, you're going to get that at a certain point in their stride. Yeah. And maybe he's bored of doing all the running poses so far. But man, that panel has bothered me since 1987. Like it actually has.
Haunt your dreams.
No, it really has. It's always stood with me all these years. And like you get a great panel like the one in yellow at the bottom in the middle.
Right.
And like it's phenomenal. It's so kinetic and everything is moving in a really good way. And you get that turd of a panel where a character is essentially standing on one foot. You know, it's just so bad. But he draws the bad pose really well. So I'll give him that.
There you go. There you go. Too easy for words. Be mid-afternoon before the others catch up. I cover the distance in minutes. I wasn't even pushing, old as I am. I can still run a 4-second mile. I can still do my job, pull my own weight. All that's left now is to wait for my buddies in the skirts. They won't escape now. We got them boxed between us. Commando's the best tracker there is, and if they break cover, I'm sure to spot them from this vantage point. Nail them right after. Piece of cake. Lewis is looking pretty sour. Probably got a Class A attack of the gilts. These swine don't deserve it. Priscilla Morrison didn't care beans about the decent kid she turned into coke fiends. Or worse. Why should we treat her any different? And as for Storm, well, even if she is a mistake, they happen in wartime. Can't be helped. Small sacrifice for the greater good. I wonder, could she have beat me up here? Nah, not a chance.
I have him.
Big deal. She won't kill the creep. So long as any of them remain alive, they'll keep coming after me. So will Storm. I bet. Once we're safe, she despises me as much as they do. She's only protecting me out of some stupid sense of honor.
Hey, what do you think those yellow things on her head are?
You know, I've had that wondering all, this issue. Like, are they
barrettes?
Barrettes would be what I would think, but they're like hair things. That's trying to think of the things that are in hair.
Well, we both have daughters and we stuck things in kids' hair.
Yeah.
I don't know. That is like the primary goal of any one drawing is, does it read?
Right.
You want it to read as something, and these yellow things read as just weird blotches.
Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah. I might have to go back and look at what Alan Davis drew because he might have been the first one to draw her.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
Maybe he was intending something different.
Right.
And then you also got to think about the weird side, like where are these guys living, and what are they seeing? And if let's say Alan Davis is in London and he's been seeing punk rockers, like seeing punks for 10 years, he's going to see certain things, and Jackson Guice might be seeing very different things and not have the same point of reference. Allie says they're barrettes, pom-poms. I wondered what they were too, like a punk look that I didn't know about. So I don't know. Allie says before that, she goes, maybe because if they tried to make every panel their absolute best and never forgave mistakes, then there would be more Art Adams like timelines of production. Yeah, like people take people a lot longer. I agree with you. They draw something and move on. I really do think that is a lot of what we see in comics at this moment in time. And but at the same time, I'm still going to build my taste by critiquing the work of others and, learn something from it. And man, I could spend way more time critiquing my work than I can his. So you're absolutely right about that. David says, in the yellow panel, all I see is that ass.
Hey, don't talk about my ass that way.
Oh my God. Okay.
Super Saber.
All right. Must stay close. Keep Saber tangled up, off balance, so he cannot throw any of his supersonic punches.
Maybe if the other creeps figure he's dead and she's dead, they'll call off their hunt, or at least slow down enough for me to get away. Then after I'm home safe, I'll put contracts out of them and we'll see who has the last laugh.
Avalanche! Priscilla, what?
She done you the dirty, sweets.
Run, man, while you have the chance.
Slope's too unstable, can't get a decent start. Keep my footing, maintain my speed. By the way,
that lettering is awesome, by the way. The
Carackaboom. Carackaboom, yeah.
Really good.
Also, we're thinking Priscilla's got a bit of a darker edge and then we see this. She's like, she'll put a contract out on these guys.
Oh, yeah.
We're like, who is this person?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Obviously something else, yeah. But
a while away.
Must be in some sort of dead zone, Marcy. I can't raise a soul on the CB.
Figures. Nobody's come along this stupid road all morning either. Looks like we get this bucket running again, Philip, my love, or ride Shank's mare out of here? What's Shank's mare?
I mean, the use of mare makes you think it's like an idiom, like an old English idiom.
Oh, maybe it's like a horse, right?
Right. But that's it'd be from Geoffrey Chaucer, like Canterbury's Tale or something like that.
Sure. Okay, that's a good. Yeah, okay. Let's just go with that until someone
tells us that. Canterbury Tales. Yeah.
Is that actually what it is?
No, I'm just knowing Claremont,
sure,
just throwing it out there.
And that's a hike I, for one, would rather not make.
Still spooked? You've seen too many slasher flicks.
Tell that to our front end, pal.
Marcy, trust me. There are no boogeymen in these woods. You won't need your pistol.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's got one on her hip.
She's got a gun.
Yeah. Not what you said last night.
That was then. The world's saner in the sun.
I wish. Try the engine. All right. Another half hour's work and we'll be ready to roll. Eyes see. Ears hear. Sense matters more. These beings seem like him, except they are afraid. His body healed, less so his mind, his sense of self.
Hello there.
Company, Phil.
Oh, boy, am I glad to see you guys.
Threat scent. Danger. The others do not suspect. Who are you?
Name's Priscilla. Been walking for ages, out for a lark. Got lost. Wouldn't you know? But now I found you and your truck. Nice truck. Everything's cool. Talk about your radical karma, you know?
Hey, let go my gun! Philip, you shot him!
Killed him. Like I'm gonna do you.
Wolverine waited like all that time. My goodness.
Yeah.
Shock, terror, rage, denial, all jumbled banged together into a split-second shriek of sensory imagery that strikes him like a blow.
Jeez. Something watching in the woods. Animal ferocious. Close by. Gun should stop it. Stop anything. Why take the risk? I got wheels. I'll use them. So long, chumps!
She's such a dick.
God, right? What a piece of shit. Like, I mean, who says so long, chumps, to two innocent people you just cold-blooded shot? So long, chumps!
No, Priscilla.
Priscilla, that's true.
At first, he simply stares. Then comes a feeling, a sense of wrongness, of failure and shame. Then, too late, with rational thought, the realization that he might have saved those two and did not. Yeah, you think, Wolverine?
Jeez, Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine.
Just add it to your list of failures in life, Wolverine.
Michael says, Shank's mare.
Yes.
To walk under your own power.
Oh. Is that from Canterbury Tales?
I don't know, but a shank is also a part of the body, like your leg bone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
Cool.
Like hold your horses. I don't know. Like under your own steam.
Something like that. Yeah.
The escarpment. For 27 minutes, Stonewall's been pitching boulders hither and yon. I like that. I like hither and thither. That's one of my favorites, by the way. Hither and thither means here and there. But hither and yon, okay, sure. In a desperate search for the slightest sign of Super Saber. Until the commando's quiet words abruptly bring him up short.
Storm's vest and Marty's headgear, both bloody.
Frank, what happened here?
Someone pushed the mountain down on our buddy and the lady. I'll give you a guess who. Storm was a real opposition. Little Miss Morrison was a fool to turn on her. Don't worry, Stoney. We'll find her. Easily. Now that her protector's out of the way. And when we do, they'll kill me. Unless I do them first. Stupid truck. I wish I was home free. Why'd I have to break? It's getting dark. I should stay. Keep going. Which way? So scared, so scared. Why'd they have to pick on me? What was that? Heart's hammering. Wish I had some food. The heck with that. Give anything. Sell my mother's soul. The cow for a decent line. Sweet snow candy. Take the edge off. Give me an edge to light my fire torch the world. Who's there?
Now, before I say the next line.
Yeah.
What did she just say?
I believe I said snow candy.
She give anything, sell my mother's soul, the cow for a decent line, sweet snow candy.
Yeah. Take
the edge off. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sweet snow candy.
That sounds like something Deadpool would say.
Surprise.
So, also, just before I change the page.
Oh, yes.
Real color mistake then, too, right? Because the hand? Is it meant to be Storm's hand?
Well, the color isn't that the hand is not white because her gloves.
Is she wearing gloves?
Storm wears gloves.
Okay.
I can also see the seam line on her thumb.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. Because it actually threw me when I was like, I read it, you know what I mean? I had to double back. Because, of course. From a coloring perspective, I was like, oh.
Later, full night. The forest cast in silent starlit shadows. There she is, fast asleep, and past due for the rudest possible wiggle. Splash. It appears stone walls are not quite as sturdy as they once might have been.
Burn!
This is twice now I have toppled you. The commando said you were dead. Consider me a ghost, then, if it makes you feel better. The marsh mud should slow you down long enough for me to deal with your teammate. Wait, Storm, this isn't mud. I'm in. It's like quicksand. I'm sinking. Blast. The fear in his voice is real. He's not faking. He would probably let me drown. Without a second thought, I cannot do the same. Take my hand, Stonewall. Don't be a fool, woman. You're not strong enough. Would you rather argue or live? And like this panel, I love with her there, and the next one I love too. Because I feel it.
Yeah.
He weighs a ton. Every second I spend with him makes me more vulnerable to the commando. But I will not let him die, especially like this. I don't believe it. And that is why you fail. I'm stronger than I look. Step carefully. Follow my lead. If you fall back into the marsh, I doubt I could pull you free again.
Didn't conk me hard enough, blood. I woke up. In your case, though, I will make the same miss. Your turn, miss.
I'd reconsider that course of action, bub, if I were you.
Well, I can't remove the knife. It's already
true. I think he means like killing Storm.
Oh, sure. Hey, you know that panel doesn't look there's 3 Wolverine heads because the way the knees are.
It looks like there are 3 Wolverine heads.
Right? It's like a Cerebus of Wolverine heads.
Yeah. Oh, that would be an awesome character, by the way.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. A
That's the first sound of
Wolverine.
Yes. At the first sound of Wolverine's voice, the commando pivots with blinding speed, hurling one knife at Wolverine, stick, ka-ding, and the other at Storm. Girl killed a young couple a few miles back, but those scales just got balanced. I don't know, these clowns want me to take 'em, boss? Or do we call things quits and everyone goes their separate ways? I wish it was that simple, my friend. Keep watch on Stonewall, Wolverine. The Crimson Commando is mine. By the way, where have you been? I was sick. I got better.
Your funeral, girl.
Perhaps. I love this. I love that pose. That one when she just takes that little jump and gets ready. Like the way that Guice winds her up. Like you twist the figure and then it needs to untwist. So he twists her real good, and that you can just feel that kick coming. It's awesome. Yeah. Chuck says, by the way, that's what a group of Wolverines is called. A Cerebus.
Oh,
that'd be fun.
Hey, I learned what a group of raccoons was called the other day.
And what's that?
A gaze.
A gaze of raccoons?
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's up there really just like somebody...
Gaze.
Well, Murder of Crows is like the most poetic one, right? Sure. But it's just someone decided along the way. It's not like it's some sort of naturally occurring phenomenon. It's just some scholar in England decided a long time ago and filled out some sort of chart.
Once in a while, gaze of raccoons.
Yes. Once in a while, they're really beautiful, but gaze of raccoons is okay. A Cerebus of Wolverines would be cool, or Cerberus. Pardon me. Or Cerebus, yeah. The body work on Storm in this issue is really good.
Yeah.
So she says, perhaps, but I truly doubt it. I could have abandoned Priscilla by choosing not to for reasons supposedly best of reasons, 2 innocents are dead. Saber is probably dead. I could not even save Priscilla herself. If the commando slays me, Wolverine will do the same to him and Stonewall, or be slain in turn. If I win, I shall probably have to kill Stonewall as well. Every path, every option seems to end in blood. Does that accomplish anything, resolve anything, make anything better? Is this the way the X-Men must go? Or is there another? And if I choose that one, is it an act of courage and maturity, of leadership, or cowardice? Pure rational thought will not provide the answer. I must trust to my instincts. Except that is what the Marauder, Malice, made all the X-Men afraid to do. Trust each other and ourselves. I have no choice.
No! You see that Michael Golden art there on that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that there was, this incredible conflict that just is turned into a Marvel comic book in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's a beautifully drawn series. It was tended to be in like an 8-year limited series, or maxi kind of limited series, where every month was supposed to be a month in real time.
Wow.
And it was supposed to be like the duration of the war.
Huh.
Anyway, yeah, the Nom. Wild.
You didn't. I'm not dead.
Yet. That can quickly change. Twist of my wrist, a slash of this blade across your throat will do the trick. Your bodies will be cast into the swamp. No one will ever find them. None know what happened. Your fate, Commando, unless the pair of you surrender to the state authorities, confessing fully and completely to your crimes. She's bluffing. Guess again, bub. Blazes, this time she really isn't. She means every flaming word.
I'm not afraid to die.
Are you afraid then to live? Have you so little regard for name and family? For those who you are and what you have done, that you would rather vanish like vermin than stand up for your cause? So be it. Storm, wait. Don't. Frank, with the law. Before a jury of our peers, people like us, where we can explain and justify our actions, we have a chance for vindication.
Or we could make our stand here. The odds are even, Stony. We could beat them.
You could try.
Why are you giving us this chance, Storm? Why not simply kill us?
Because I have not forgotten who and what I am.
Okay. We'll do it your way. Inside, where it counts, where it matters. You're just like us.
No. Tonight, I was better. The next day, in Russell, New York. Didn't figure they'd go through with it. An easy decision considering the alternative. You'd have gone after them and finished the job. Yes. I was ready to kill them. And should the need arise, I shall be again. Where'd that leave us, then, darling, and the X-Men? Part of our charter is to defend the world from evil mutants. Someone must protect the weak, the innocent, the helpless, whether they be mutant or no. And if no one else desires the job, I say it's ours. But I am tired of doing so by waiting for those villains to always make the first move. If the Marauders and filth like them desire war, I say further, we bring it to their doorstep rather than forever fighting on our own. I'm not sure I'm up to it anymore. I gotta stop that girl. Save those kids. We all have our ghosts, my friend. Our secret shames, our guilts. Do we let them rule us? Do we crawl into a hole and hide until our bodies follow our spirits into oblivion? Or do we accept our mistakes and try to learn from them? We're both damaged goods. Wait a minute. Is this Wolverine? No, that's Storm.
That's gotta be
We are
Storm.
both damaged goods. That is part of what makes us human. Have you considered the ramifications of all this? These hunters rationalized what they did behind the noblest of reasons. We're on that same road, Storm, cruising along that same abyss. We got lucky last night. Don't count on it ever again. If we live and fight by those hunters' rules, how do we keep coming? How do we keep from becoming like them? Aurora, you told the commando you were better. How do we stay that way? Little insider talk here. See what the next issue is?
Follies Gambit?
No, what you don't know is Claremont was so inspired by this that he decided he was either going to make a character named Gambit or a character named Folly.
Ooh, Folly's my favorite, truthfully.
Yeah, it was going to go either way. My goodness.
But look how cool Storm looks in that middle panel, the shades. Yeah, she's so cool.
Yeah, she is.
So cool.
Yeah, her mohawk is unbelievable. He draws it very like big and flowing. And he's taking like I guess what Arthur Adams was doing and eventually Romita Jr. But like Silvestri is taking it right from this. That's like the next step in her is that like really kinetic moving flow of her mohawk. Yeah, it looks good. And Dan Green is inking it. So he's the one, like Dan Green is the one who's throwing down those hair strokes with a brush. So there's no reason I think of Silvestri because he's the one inking Silvestri. There's a lot in the chat and I just want to catch up on some of it here. Michael says that it reminds him of the Storm Callisto duel. There's like some talk about the fight itself from Dan, the left hook. Anthony says Guice's fight scenes are pretty solid. The way he draws her mohawk through the issue too. Agreed. This was a dream assignment back then, Dan says. I think most pencilers brought their A+ game if they got a shot. I agree with you. It was a really great opportunity. And Claremont was a little bit of an art tastemaker. He almost always took on a great penciler and inking team and got good work out of them, just through his stories. And I think we talked before, having Cockrum as his first guy kind of showed him probably Cockrum had a lot more responsibility in pacing things on the story. And then, he thought he'd have the same thing with Byrne. Might have regretted it considering how much squabbling they did and Byrne wanted to do his own stuff. But he really does have a great sense of who would make a great X-Men artist. And so many different ones, from Paul Smith to Bill Sienkiewicz, like really different artists, but both would be excellent on the title, Love the parallel of Logan's guilt and not being able to save the couple who died with Aurora making a decision not to kill. Yeah. What's in the trunk of the car in the bottom left panel? I'm guessing not using a photo reference. Or what's going on with the trunk of the car?
It looks like there's no depth there. It looks almost like it's a station wagon, maybe ish. Because you can see in the top panel there is a trunk, but it looks like
it's the Inspector Gadget mobile.
Nice.
Remember how that thing could change those pieces around?
Go Gadget.
Yeah, exactly. Anthony says Aurora looking very Louise like, pre-Thelma and Louise. Susan Sarandon with a mohawk. Yeah, man. Susan Sarandon with anything is a good idea. Mohawks are fun to draw. Mass says it's a K car. Yeah, the X-Men, I don't know what kind of car that's supposed to be. But yeah, it's something generic for sure. But the lack of trunk is ridiculous. I wonder. He's just like Ali was saying, he's trying to get out of the issue. Trying to just get through. Survive. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. That was crazy.
That's a good issue. It's fun. Again.
Well, yeah, it's good to wrap that thing up, but there are those broader themes going on. There's that conversation about them dealing with murderers. And, you know, in really good storytelling, antagonists help clarify the truth of who the hero is. Right? You know, they put the hero through these situations where they have to decide, make choices to reveal the truth about their nature. So the Marauders are, you know, for a bit of a stretch maybe, they're helping clarify whether the X-Men, who have become darker, are killers, and where their lines on that fall. And so different things like this 2-part, coming up against Priscilla, coming up against that trio, help them figure out, okay, where do we really fall about this? How are we going to handle a bunch of killers if we're not killers? And Wolverine says, like, we're going to walk that line. It isn't so clear. Wolverine saying he's not up for a war. That's interesting. Didn't expect that out of him. I think he is up for it. Shake it off, buddy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed that little 2-parter there for sure. Do
you remember what's coming next? Have you looked ahead?
Look, it's Folly. We're gonna see the debut of Folly.
I'm gonna dig in. Pull out this short box under my desk.
Alrighty.
218. Oh no.
217.
I know. I'm just looking at the cover.
Oh, you do have it. Sorry.
Oh yeah. No, these ones I have. I'm good.
Okay.
Let's see.
Next up.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, Juggernaut and Dazzler.
Big jugs right there, buddy.
It's a dance off. Can't wait to read it.
I actually have him right here.
Look at that guy.
I happen to have this. I wanted to look at how I'm doing a cover recreation of
massive
the bar fight one. Yeah, so there's this head on him with
Kane,
a beat up eye.
Yeah.
I'll put this thing back on. There we go.
Pip Squeak.
Juggernaut.
Yeah.
He was a build-a-figure, but this one came in a 2-pack with Colossus.
Oh, cool. How you don't have the Colossus there, dude?
He's.
I was gonna say, what's the proportion between the two of them?
Hold on. Is he right here? Yeah, he's right there. This Juggernaut is not like Deadpool Wolverine big.
Right.
He's good size for Marvel Legends. I mean, hold on. He is.
Okay.
There they are.
I like
Their
it.
feet about.
Yeah.
You know, they can go.
They can go. Yeah.
This Colossus is a good looking one.
It does look a good one. Yeah.
But I really love playing with this one. he's just got a little something about him that I absolutely love it. So I've been playing with him, using him as pose reference for here. I can pull this off. It's on my light board right now. So on the original cover, I have some things from that original one. Getting this done was really hard, but there's the artist who's working on Absolute Batman right now, Nick Dragata.
I know the title.
So Nick Dragata did a recreation of that cover. Yeah, and I'm pulling elements of that. Like he made it so that Colossus is smashing through the logo. And I was like, oh, I really like that, and angled the punch a little differently. And so I pulled elements of Nick's, but I'm trying to render a little bit more like JR, not too far, as opposed to doing a straight recreation. I'm took artistic license. And And what else was I going to say? Oh, I was using my Colossus action figure as reference.
Yeah.
Like how wide the banding is. And once you do that, then you can write it off too. You know, it's a prime reference.
Sweet.
Yeah, taxes. Good times for the taxes. So yeah, that issue is coming next. This is a Walt Simonson cover.
Okay.
I didn't expect that. And more of Jackson Guice is penciling again with Steve Lealoha on inks, who we've seen do the inks on I think maybe annual 6 or 7. And I love his inks from a particular issue of G.I. Joe. And so there's some stuff on Mural. I don't want to say more than that. We're going to get some training stuff going on. Cool. And yeah, some Mural action. Oh, Chris.
Moira.
Yeah. Can I just show you one panel?
Oh, is it the return? We do love when he shows up. Yes.
Look who's there, buddy.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Perfect. That's
Banshee returns next week.
You know what? That's the holiday gift that I wanted. So what a perfect timing for that.
It's actually your gift to all of us.
Oh, is it?
Okay. It is. Anthony says, maybe this is a bit of a stretch. I'm in already. But I can see this trio of villains work in an episode of X-Men 97. X-Men who don't like the state of their country, men that don't like the state of their country and act out because it feels because of it, it feels very timely. Oh yeah. This would be, and it wouldn't be hard to manufacture, that situation. I do like the idea of them. I would love that homage to that episode.
Yeah.
But who do you leave? Because you got to rework it because Storm has powers right now, unless you want to take her powers away again, or do a flashback to when she's in that time period, like where she's going on that road journey. We don't really know where she is a lot of that time. We could have. The X-Men 97 goes fast, and they don't spend a lot of time with in those changes. So I wouldn't mind a flashback episode with her dealing with those guys and perhaps. Southwest, because she travels south, doesn't she? Ends up
that's I think where she is,
maybe in Texas. I'm not sure, or New Mexico, but yeah, maybe something there, and have her go up against those guys to find out more about who she is, or change who the hero is.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe. I won't spoil. All good. So next week is 217. That should be fun.
Yeah.
And what else we got to say? Sunday. Newmarket. December 8th.
Yes.
This guy right here will be at Wayside Comics and Cocktails at a holiday market with Nick Marankovich of Dead Romans and Jay Torres of So Many Things.
Of Tuscan Wolf.
Yes, Tuscan Wolf Pizza in Whitby, Ontario. Looking forward to hang with those guys and, of course, with Omar and the crew up in Newmarket. It should be a nice chance to hopefully put some art in the hands of some people, some books in the hands of some people, and get to know those two guys a little bit better.
Yeah, have a blast.
Joy.
That sounds like fun.
Good guys in the Toronto scene.
Totally.
Other than that, at some point we will chat about our upcoming holidays, because I'm looking at the calendar now and I'm taking some vacation and things like that. So we'll have to take a look at some weeks coming up. What do you mean things like that? You're taking holidays. What other things are like holidays?
Vacation.
Holidays. Yeah, take vacation.
So
yeah. We always have the choice. We have 3 choices. Do nothing. Mm-hmm. Do something pre-taped. Or I do something without you.
That's right.
And all 3 of those options are terrible.
Is there a Banshee limited series?
Doesn't matter.
We can make one.
What is that? Okay. Yeah, there are some limited series in this time period. There is the X-Men Fantastic Four limited series by Claremont and I think John Bogdanov, maybe. And there's the X-Men Avengers limited series, which I did want to cover because it kind of wraps up that Magneto as war criminal thread.
Oh, right. Yeah. They showed.
And I thought we would just do a flip through as opposed to a read through. So I'm going to put those issues in your hands next time I see you, because I have 2 sets, one from my collection, one from my brother, whose collection I absorbed. So we can both read those and talk about it a little bit. But other than that, next week is 217.
217.
With Juggernaut, Muir Island, Dazzler. Is he really there? Is he an illusion? I don't know. Banshee's return. It's going to be all the accents. It's going to be a real treat.
Fast and furious.
Yes.
Of United Nations of X-Men reading.
Yeah, man. All right. That's excellent. Everyone, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. It was a treat. Again, really enjoy when everyone's there in the chat and tells us their 2 cents. Please click like with the video if you haven't already. It really does make a difference. Any engagement, whether it's in the stream or on the rewatch or whatever you guys call it, engage with it somehow. It really does help us. So please do that. If you feel like sharing the video with other people who you think would be inclined to enjoy such a thing, please do. But that makes a big difference for us. But that basically brings us to the end of another episode of Previously in X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you to my good buddy. There you are, writer of Group of 7 and Peregrines, Chris Sanagan. Thank you, Chris. You're a gem of a man.
And reminisce about the Chris O'Donnell filmography.
You can find out more about our comics and upcoming appearances at group7comics.ca. Follow us on social media at Group of 7 Comics. And please do all the other stuff. It makes a big difference for us. So thanks, Bob.
And I will say quickly before we go, a couple of new subscribers. Shout out to Sean Dubois and hashtag Terry hashtag Star Squad X, also Star. Thanks for subscribing to the channel.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you next week.